and right into the stretch. Looking back and throws up the middle. Rose is on his way around. Picked up by Otis.
Here comes the ready or not. Here comes the boys from the south. Here comes the ready or not. How you like me now? I say, here comes the boom, ready or not. Here comes the boys from the south. Boom, here comes the boom, ready or not. How you like me now?
You don't live in Cleveland, you live in Cincinnati.
You are watching live to the best damn 2 and 4 podcast this side of MetLife Stadium. My name is Santori Miles. We got Bengal Dad. That's it. It's the boys are back in town. How we doing? How we doing?
I'm doing better. That win was it didn't inspire a ton of confidence, but it surely let me breathe a little easier when it was over. 2 and 4 feels a lot better than what it really should feel like, I think, right now. I think a lot of people probably feel that way.
I was going to say this is the best 2 and 4 I think I've ever felt in my life. I'm losing 67% of the games, and I feel great. With that being said, we got to talk about the people that help pay for the show.
Yeah.
First and foremost. Oh, I wasn't going that route yet. That's the last one.
Okay.
Just tell your story with coffee. They're beans. They're roasted. They're ground. They give you
good.
Caffeine in the morning. Check out Script Coffee up in Lebanon, Ohio. They have a drive-thru. I believe it's the only coffee shop in the area with a drive-thru for your convenience. And they got pickleball courts. There's batting cages in the back. Steve did a great job. Just keep it up. Buy some Script Coffee. And I do have one thing I want to touch on after that regarding Project Game Day. I said we weren't going to do an update, but we do have an update. Next, Midwest Best Barbecue and Creamery out in Loveland. Get you some wings. Get you some Dillinator wings. Get you some Uno, some G-Funk, some Grippos. All these words that if you're not from Cincinnati don't make sense. They also got some pretty damn good ice cream. And then last but not least, you're not going to do it now?
I've already done it once.
Okay. Imagine, if you will, you just got your ass waxed by the Bengals on Sunday Night Football. Danny Dimes is your quarterback, and you have no hope for the future. You need to go get sloshed on a Subway and probably pee in it because that's what they do over there. Where do you turn? Brimminghorn Meadery. It's kind of in the area. It's out in Delaware, but they're not Giants fans. They're Bengal fans. So they know your sorrow. They're going to help fuel it. Use our code HOODAY9 to get shipping. Basically 15% off shipping on 2 bottles or more, even to you, Montana. And I do have a Project Game Day update.
Updated.
Said we weren't going to have one. We're going to have one now. Script Coffee is being a fantastic business partner. And for every bag of Tiger Joe coffee that they sell this month, they're going to donate $1 to Project Game Day. So go out, get you a bag of Tiger Joe coffee. Give me a second. I've got one here. We have one.
Something tells me it's orange and black. I'm just guessing.
The bag's kind of white.
Well, we are allowed to have white also for whiteouts.
But it does have some stripes on it. Use this. Get this. Get this. It gives us $1. It helps us out.
$1.
They give us $1.
We get $1.
$1. All we're asking is $1.
And we put it to great use.
We do. We put it to really, really good use of Project Game Day. It's a fantastic cause. Talked about it a million times on the show. We're going to talk about it a million more. But let's get into some foosball. Our boys of fall. 17-7. Kind of looks like they kicked their ass. Scores can be misleading at times.
Should have been 10-7.
It honestly should have been about 28-7.
Right, but in the final minute, it should have been 10-7.
Yes, Zach.
We should not have been chasing Danny Dimes and the rest of the Giants around the field for when I have heart attacks when the team still has a chance to lose a game.
I'm happy you weren't watching the group chat because as soon as Chase Brown crossed the goal line, you're screaming he should have gone down. Shit, shit, shit. And Greg texted me, ball game. And I went, nope. It'd have been ball game if you didn't score. So, with that being said, first topic regarding that game, defense stepped up.
The defense looked fast. That's what I noticed after the second play. They looked faster. I don't know what that is. Maybe that's confidence. I don't know what it is, but they look faster.
Confidence, aggression, playing from a level of embarrassment. We know they had the players only meeting, and the juice was there for sure. Pass rush looked better. Maybe some of it's the fact that they did have Rankins and Hill and Jenkins and Jackson on the inside. You had all 4 defensive ends. You had all your linebackers. You had your safeties. Jordan Battle's getting in there. The only guy that was missing on the defense was Dax Hill. And he has played well this year, so I don't want to discredit that. But that's pretty damn healthy. When you're healthy and you can do what you want to do, you play with confidence, you play faster. Maybe that was it. Yeah. Maybe it's a combination of things.
I'll be convinced that it's better when they do it against a better offense. I just don't know when we play a better offense.
Philly.
I don't know how good they are. Probably kick their ass now that I just said that, but I don't really know how good their offense is.
Well, they have receivers.
They do have some receivers.
They got A.J. Brown. They got Devontae Smith.
I think their quarterback's a little suspect at this point.
They got Barkley, they got Devontae Smith, and they've got A.J. Brown.
Yeah, that'll be better because of Barkley.
That's enough to scare you. They got to respect all assets of the offense.
Yeah. If they play really, really well against Philly, I'll be convinced that the defense is healthy enough now to allow us to make that run. Mm-hmm. It'd be really, really good if they could win their next 2 games and look really good on defense and have their offensive line hold up better than they held up against the Giants. Right. I know they only allowed 4 sacks, but Burrow even admitted that rush was pretty dominant, and he was getting some happy feet in the first half.
Well, he was getting crushed. I'm surprised he's not in concussion protocol right now. His head bounced off the ground like a basketball. He got dribbled. But I do want to say this. I know Neighbors wasn't playing. I know Singletary wasn't playing, and I know Daniel Jones is not an MVP caliber quarterback. It's still the NFL. I don't care who you play. Holding someone to 7 points is an accomplishment any week against any team.
No, I agree. It helped that they missed 2 field goals too.
Well, you made them 45-plus yard field goals.
Yeah.
As much as people think those are gimmies, they're not. We'll go to another asset of the game. Chase Brown, seemingly your new favorite player.
He's not my favorite player. I just think Zach Moss should be taken off the team and show him whatever his life's work really is, because whatever he was in Indianapolis, he is not here. That is for sure. Because he does not impress me in the least bit. Travion Williams is a better running back than Zach Brown. Travion should be the number 2 back right now.
Well, I think with further and further, Chase Brown starts to separate himself as a true runner. If Chase Brown can figure out how to pass block, you just might not see Zach Moss again.
Well, he better learn how to hang on to the ball too.
Well, yeah, both of them fumbled. Let's give criticism where criticism's due. But to be fair, the very next play, he won the game.
Right. But if I would have been coaching that team, the handoff would have been to Travion. I'd have jerked him right out of the game too. I don't care what the circumstances in the game. That's the only thing I ever really thought Marvin Lewis did right with the Bengals, besides helping them back in the first couple of years that he was here as a coach. I like the fact that if you screwed up, he wasn't putting you back in that game. He did that to Jeremy Hill in Jeremy Hill's big year. I was glad to see him do that. Mm-hmm. And I said when Moss fumbled, I even said, well, if Marvin's our head coach, Zach Moss doesn't see any of the field the rest of the game, and he did not see the field the rest of the game. But when Chase Brown did that, I would have pulled
at the end.
What's that?
He came into pass block for 2 snaps at the end, but he was not in as a running back.
Okay. I didn't even notice that. But I would have pulled Chase Brown also in that final minute. I'd have put Travion in there. These guys have to understand fumbling the ball is the worst thing you can possibly do as an offensive player. Mm-hmm. It's worse than the equivalent of dropping a pass. because dropping a pass doesn't give the other team the ball. But you could have given that. And just imagine if the Giants would have fallen on that ball in the final minute and a half.
Because they were moving the ball.
We'd probably be 1-5 right now, and everybody would be saying fire Zach Taylor. Of course, I was saying that. Again, he did it again. With 3 minutes and 8 seconds to go, we take over that ball, and the first 2 plays are running plays to Chase Brown. It's then 3rd and 12. And Joe finally I don't know what Joe did there. If he just made a play. He just did what he does. And he made a play and completed a 29-yard pass to Yoshi on the sidelines. That was that's just what you pay Joe Burrow to do.
I hope
if they didn't let him do that against Baltimore, we'd probably be 3-3 right now.
I hope that gives Zach a little confidence to keep giving Joe that opportunity.
He won't. Zach will forget it. Zach's an idiot. Zach is not a smart man when it comes to that. His balls shrivel up like peas. He doesn't know what to do in moments like that. And I just don't think he should be allowed to call a flip and play once you get past in your final 5 minutes of a game. He does okay through the course of the game. I think the offense flows pretty well. Mm-hmm. It was struggling on Sunday night, but I think it flows pretty well. There's crunch time, he's horrible.
There's going to be ebbs and flows during a game. There's going to be games where you struggle. There's going to be times where you run into a defense that has an exceptional pass rush. It is what it is. You're not always going to be world beaters every single game, but in those moments of have to have it, more often than not, Zach finds a way to not have it. But with that being said, Joe figured it out. They are 2-4, and they're getting ready to move on to the Battle of Ohio Part 1 this year against Cleveland. Cleveland has just as good, if not better, of a pass rush. And as of about 2 p.m. today, they have no wide receiving core because they traded Amari Cooper to the Buffalo Bills.
They still will put up as much of a fight. This game will be just as difficult as when we play the Chiefs. We do not play the Cleveland Browns well at all. It boggles my mind. I know they have a pressure defense. I still see teams scoring points on Cleveland. Their offense, I don't know how they ever score a touchdown. Now, they do have Chubb back this week, but it doesn't mean that Chubb is going to be the 200-yard running back Chubb. He hasn't played in a year and a half. I mean, that's what I heard about Joe Burrow when he came back, and he didn't look good at the beginning. So let's see if Chubb looks like the guy that's on skates out there and can't figure it out, and he's hesitant and protects his knee and everything else.
Well, Chubb's torn his ACL before. This is nothing new for him. And
probably doesn't want to do it a third time, though.
Probably not. But we know how exceptional of a running back he is. He is an absolute nightmare. To me, this is going to sound blasphemous. We struggle with him more than we struggle with Henry.
We held Henry again until that one carry in overtime.
Sure.
That carry never should have happened.
Mm-hmm. But it's going to be another game probably like this Giants game where their offense struggles a little bit. Their pass rush is going to get us befuddled.
To me, the perfect scenario is they come out of it with a win, and the offense and the defense look like they've made more of a positive stride. I just want to see the trend go up just slightly. It doesn't need to go up like this. Just give me a slight uptick in the trend. Give me the positive result. Let's get out of here 3-4 and move on to the Philly game.
Yeah, because what I don't think people understand this, and maybe they'll start to as the weeks go on. If you beat Cleveland, you go 1-1 in division, a game under 500, and you haven't hit the halfway point yet. You've not completely unburied yourself from the 0-3 hole, but to win, if you get Cleveland, you're 3 of 4, 1-1 in division games, which this division is incredibly difficult, and you have to take that. I don't care what year it is. I'll take 500 in this division every single year because there are times we go 1-5. This division's just fucking tough. Call it what it is. But If they keep progressing just a little bit and do what they should in Cleveland, your season's right back on.
No, I would agree with that.
I don't really want to try and think about Philly because I think it's getting too far ahead of ourselves.
Well, the good thing is we're allowed to do it because we're not on the field.
Well, if we're allowed to do it, if you get the next two, you're 500
I know it.
at the halfway point.
And I think your game after Philly is the Raiders.
Who just benched their quarterback and traded Devontae Adams today.
Right.
It,
They could hit that. There's that record again.
5-4 number that
Yeah.
they seemingly run into every year.
5-4 seems to work out really well for this team.
Listen, last time we were 5-4 going into Baltimore, Joe Burrow broke his arm in half. So
Well, yeah.
I don't want a repeat of that. Other quick news: that game against Philly did get moved to 1:00.
Yeah.
I personally think it's because they want Bears and Commanders and Chiefs and Raiders, in that time slot. I think Philly and Cincinnati have both underachieved thus far, and they don't want them in that time slot. But the way Ian Rappaport put it today was now the Bengals get 70% of the viewership because I guess the 1:00 broadcast map between Cincinnati and Philly is enormous. And, quote, more exposure for the White Tiger game.
I thought that was really odd that a guy like Ian Rappaport would even talk about that. And why does he care if the Bengals get more exposure? It's almost like he's trying to soothe this for the Bengal fans. I don't care if they play at 1:00 or 4:00.
Well,
It doesn't matter to me.
I put out there today after that because everybody's kind of talking about it and not so eloquently, but I said, fuck the schedule, just win the ball game.
Yeah, I don't really care what time they play, where they play. I don't care
The
about
only
that.
time I care when they play is when the NFL rolls out one of those weird Saturday at noon or Saturday at 4 games and I can't get off work.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there in the showroom pacing back and forth, biting my nails, sweating bullets. And my bosses are like, why aren't you taking a customer? I'm like, because Joe Burrow's on the field. And that is really messing with me right now. But we said this would be a quick show. But one other thing we want to touch on, and this goes against everything my logic, my philosophy, my understanding, my studies, and this isn't something that somebody told me. This is just my own thought process. I've always said don't pay 2 wide receivers. I don't care anymore. This offense is so damn potent with T. Higgins, and they have so much room over the next 3 to 4 years. There's no excuse to not sign him at this point. If they do, I will 100% throw out it's the being cheap card. Here's the deal. T. Higgins is probably going to make somewhere between $30 to $31 million a year annually. Jamar Chase is probably going to make north of 38, closer to 40. There's ways to do it. I'm not going to get into the numbers gymnastics right now, but it's not as difficult as you would think. This offense is too damn good to take a step backward. You don't want to do that and waste another year at Joe Burrow.
I think we need a T. Higgins GoFundMe account.
Let's do it. We'll do it with the Project Game Day $1 coffees. We just got to sell like 130 million coffees. Steve would love if we sold 130 million bags of Tiger Joe. Because those bags of coffee are like $13 a piece or something.
He might give you a free bag of coffee.
If he sells 130 million bags at 13 a piece, he just might buy the Bengals. And now I'm in his ear, and we got all kinds of great things going on. This is the key to victory. We just need Walmart everywhere to carry these bags of coffee and take over for Folgers. We figured it out. We're just going to sell a metric fuck ton of coffee, and T. Higgins will be here forever.
I think Script better start making tea.
Steven, if you're listening, tea.
Script tea.
Script tea.
Script tea.
Do it, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it.
Serious though, I don't know how the Bengals don't find a way. It's clear and it's obvious that those three together, along with having, and I don't want to hear any more about Joe flipping Mixon. I really don't. Chase Brown is better than Joe Mixon. Chase Brown is a tenth of the price of Joe Mixon. Chase Brown is 6 years younger than Joe Mixon. I'm glad they got rid of Joe Mixon. For anybody out there that's all pissy that Mixon's gone, well, go freaking cry in a pillow somewhere because he's gone. Chase Brown's more exciting back than Joe Mixon.
We'll touch on that, right? Because everybody's enamored with the year that Mixon's having so far in Houston.
Yeah.
First and foremost, he's missed 3 games.
Yeah, that would do us a lot of good, wouldn't it?
He's always had injury problems. Next.
The only thing he does better is he held onto the ball better. I'll give him that. That's incredibly important. But there's nothing else that he does better.
Well, I want to share some numbers with you, and okay. I think you'll be. I sent these to you the other day. Sometimes you see stuff. Uh-oh.
What happened? Did you spring a leak?
Ashley walked through the door.
Oh, did you spring a leak?
Bailey, Walter, everybody, quiet. We're gonna be a second.
That's okay.
Jesus, Joseph and Mary. Welcome to my life, guys. Okay, now that I've got my train of thought back. Joe Mixon, we're going to isolate it by carry and by rushing attempts, just to be fair. Joe and Chase Brown have almost identical amount of carries this year. It's 51 to 52 or 52 to 53. They're off by 1, whichever number that is. They both have 5.5 yards a carry. But the difference is Mixon's yards before contact. Have you ever looked at that number?
No. I bet you're about to tell me.
He's averaging 5.5 yards a carry. His yards before contact are 4.3. 4.3 yards before contact. I could get 5.5 yards a carry if I got a 12-foot head start. Jesus Christ. He's to the linebackers before they touch him. You wonder why it's coming from. And with that being said, he's still not making people miss. Zach Moss has about 70 carries. Mixon's got like 53. Zach Moss has made 9 people miss on his 70 carries. Joe Mixon's made 4 on his 52.
And Zach Moss doesn't make people miss.
Zach Moss, his elusiveness rating, it's kind of based on a percentage. It's hard to explain, but for reference, Chase Brown is like a 57 elusiveness rating. Okay, the leader in the NFL is like 70. Zach Moss is 34. Joe Mixon's like 29. Joe Mixon still isn't doing anything. He's getting what's blocked for him. If Joe Mixon was here, he would look worse than what Zach Moss looks right now.
I wonder what Joe Mixon would look like if he was a Bengal. Oh, wait a minute. We saw that for 7 years, didn't we?
Yeah, in Chase Brown's back.
We saw that program. We saw that in the last 2 or 3 years, everybody was saying they need to get rid of Mixon. Everybody was saying it. And then he would have a big game every once in a blue moon. Never would break a 50-yarder, though, and score. Always got caught from behind. He's just not the same back as Brown. Brown is just so much more exciting. And somebody said it in the comments. He fits this offense. He really fits this offense. Joe Mixon, I love when he was here. He was good enough for us. But I don't like these comparisons.
Don't get me wrong. I have a very, very soft spot in my heart for Joe. We went to a Super Bowl with Mixon. He threw a touchdown in the Super Bowl.
Maybe Mixon can throw better than Brown. He used to throw to all the people in the stands, so maybe he's a quarterback at heart.
The Carolina game, that he had several games where he went off for 3 and 4 touchdowns, and he was a great back here for a while. But here's the thing: I'm getting better production out of somebody 6 years younger for an 11th of the price. It's not a competition. We don't have to compare guys, even though I just did for the last 2 minutes. You're fine with Chase Brown.
And what was the biggest thing or one of the bigger things that we didn't like about Mixon? The pitter patter. For a year they said, "Oh, he's just trying to be Le'Veon Bell." No, he's not. He couldn't freaking figure out what hole to go to. He was so indecisive. You don't see that from Chase Brown. Chase Brown's behind the same line that Mixon was behind, and boy, does he explode.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of like back in the day, and maybe it was Ben Jarvis. I don't know who it was. But we always had our number one running back always kind of like was a dud, and they'd bring in Gio, and you'd wonder how Gio was like getting 2 and 3 times as many yards per carry.
It's aggressiveness,
decisiveness, hitting the hole hard, all the things that Mixon got most aggressive when he caught a swing pass, and he had like 5 yards between him and a DB, and then he would like go attacking like he was a real monster.
Sure,
but he didn't do that going through the line of scrimmage.
No. And I really don't want to take away from what Joe did here, but you're allowed to like Chase Brown. It's okay that Mixon's gone. That's the point.
We are a better running team with Chase Brown.
It's quite frankly, the numbers support it, and it's not close. Yeah. With that being said, I have some guests here. I know we wanted to keep it short tonight. We're right around 30 minutes. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. And, we got the Browns on Sunday. We'll do another show this week, I'm sure. It's only Tuesday. We'll probably do one around Friday night or something. But
Fridays are going to work better for me moving forward. I can tell you that.
Yeah, I can do Friday nights every Friday night. I don't have any plans. So we'll shoot for Friday nights moving forward. And I have to go make gluten-free food for my guests. Not up your alley?
No.
All right.
No.
Well, thank you again, everybody.
I like to buy my gluten.
So long. Good night.
Adios, au revoir, as Lawrence Walk would say.
And
Peter Zing.
Fuck the Browns.
And right into the stretch. Looking back and throws up the middle. Throws
He just froze.